viewers, you're welcome to another episode of The Current. I'm your host as usual. My name is Frida Okira. Thanks for joining me. On today's program, we will still be dwelling on restructuring of Nigeria. We started that topic last week and we'll still be dwelling on it because it has been an issue. It has raised a lot of controversies and we'll be dwelling on more of it this week as well. Moving forward, we will take some news reports that have been happening. The current TV show was at the CBN FSS 2020, where the CBN moved to execute the FSS 2020 strategy and inaugurated mortgage finance committees. Don't go away as I come to you with that report. Inaugurated a mortgage finance committee. The director, FSS 2020, Mohammed Suleiman, stated this in a meeting in Abuja.
The members of the committee would bring to the table for the implementation of the FSS 2020 initiatives. As you all know, the FSS 2020 just works on the strategy and builds up the initiatives which sends to all the implementing institutions to implement. So what we did by inaugurating the forum today is to bring in all the stakeholders in the mortgage industry with a view to getting them to work on those initiatives that the FSS 2020 has crafted, to suggest ways to overcome all these challenges that we'll be having in the implementation so far. The standing committee for the mortgage sector will continue to work and bring in new things on board and address all the challenges that we have on the initiatives. So they're going to continue for as long as FSS 2020 will last.
Executive Director, Construction Finance, Dr. Benny Goka, told The Current various committees were inaugurated to chart a course towards providing homes for common Nigerians.
We noticed in the meeting today that we established 3 standing committees. And the one committee is a credit rating committee, and I was appointed to be the chairman of the credit rating committee. We had the bill harmonization committee, and we also had the third is the alternative funding committee, which I was also asked to be on that committee. The credit rating committee is to design, for the first time in Nigeria, we really do not have indigenous credit rating. If you want to buy a home in other parts of the world, the rate is based on your credibility. And credibility is achieved based on what you earn, your expenses, and what you have left. And then that decides what kind of home you can get. Well, we don't have that in Nigeria. And so this committee, the credit rating committee that I chair, will be able to make public, so it becomes a public document for the rest of the country, and there will be a template for further buying forms. And then the bill harmonization committee will talk about the various bills that enables the financial strategy, trying to achieve the financial strategy 2020. The alternative funding committee will find that, the commercial banks give loans, but we're looking at other ways in the country so homeowners can get loans, not just from the commercial banks, but they can get loans from other sources.
However, the Federal Mortgage Bank representative, Mrs. N.O. Ndoka Wangbo, noted the agency contribution to solving Nigerian mortgage challenges.
I reported at the meeting that Federal Mortgage Bank has issued or granted mortgage loans to about 17,000 mortgagors, and that the Federal Mortgage Bank has also injected completed houses up to about 21,500. This might be like a drop in the ocean, but if you juxtapose these figures I have just mentioned with the fiscal cash disbursed by the Federal Mortgage Bank on these 2 loan windows, the NHF mortgage loan window and the estate development loan window, you would see that the Federal Mortgage Bank has injected a lot into the mortgage sector. Okay, now you asked about what the Federal Mortgage Bank is doing to help the masses have access to mortgage. Affordability has always been an issue when you talk about mortgage. The Federal Mortgage Bank is an institution that focuses on the mass market segment of the mortgage sector. And it's doing a lot. We have various products that are available, particularly the cooperative loan window. We have what we call the NHF cooperative loan window, and we also have the cooperative estate development loan window. Okay, these are being developed. They haven't really taken off yet, but it's one of the initiatives of FMBN to address the mortgage needs of the mass market segment of the mortgage sector.
Also, former Permanent Secretary Linus Awute commiserates with family of Maitama Sule over his dismiss. Linus Awute, a former Federal Permanent Secretary and founder of Global Development Program for Health, Environment, Agriculture and Safety Initiative, has commiserated with the immediate family of late the Masini Kano Alhaji Yusuf Maitama Sule. Mr. Linus further stated that the late Say was one of those who inspired him to join the service of this great nation, and subsequently his quest for excellence therein. He stated that Maitama Sule will be greatly missed by himself and many more. We also have reports coming in from Ajaokuta, Kogi State, where a company, a West African company, flooded the farm of a very poor woman. It's a terrible experience. Those are the photos. They opened their chamber, their water chamber, and flooded and destroyed every single plant. The name of that company is West Africa Ceramic Company. All effort to get through to the manager was proved abortive. I think they have a lot of explanations to do. These are the news reports for now. We'll take a short break, and when we're back, I'll introduce the guests for the day.
What is your vision for your child? A sound, structured academic background, a one-time trial for university admission, a gateway to success and career exploits? Then, Kingsville Schools is your best bet for primary, secondary, and advanced level studies. With a track record of 100% success in senior secondary school examination in the last 7 years, excellent result in Cambridge Advanced Level Examination, as well as offering foreign university foundation programs, Kingsville Schools has got all it takes to bring out the best potentials in your child. Conducive environment with air-conditioned classroom and hostel accommodation, fully equipped library and laboratory facilities, adequate sporting and recreational facilities. A sound curriculum run by seasoned lecturers will give your child the best of learning in a serial environment. For inquiries on admission, contact us at plot 1450 Jai Cadastral Zone, behind Next Cash and Carry, Abuja. Visit our website www.kingsvilleschools.com.ng or call any of these numbers 070-559-95561 or 080-516-54944 or 080-663-43872. Kingsville Schools, building tomorrow's leader today.
Okay, so just joining us, this is the current. And like I said, the topic for discussion today is the restructuring of Nigeria, beg your pardon. And I have a special guest in the house who is passionate about Nigeria. Is also the national chairman, People's Progressive Party, as well as the coordinating chairman, Credible Alliance. Credible Alternative Alliance. I have Mr. Dr. beg your pardon, Damian Ogbonna. So you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
You know, because he's my friend, I'm always used to call him Mr. He's a doctor. A doctor, not just in Nigeria.
Very acceptable.
So, sir, what do you have to say about the restructuring thing that has been ongoing?
Well, it's, I think it's long overdue, if you will ask me. Nigeria ought not to have abandoned the structure that was in place during independence. You see, because the structure that was in place during independence was that was bequeathed onto Nigeria by UK. And it essentially followed the line or the process of the United Kingdoms, where the various provinces or the various regions were pretty much autonomous, they fend for themselves. They took care of their own health care, they took care of their own education, they took care of their own farming, and contributed to the central government. Now, that was what was bequeathed to us. And that is what works. But in the case of Nigeria, somewhere along the road, within 10 years of the independence, we decided that we knew better than the UK that had managed its own nation for almost 1,000 years plus. We decided we knew better and we changed everything. And we, rather than having provinces that were autonomous and independent, what we had now was provinces that were vassals to the central government, that depended on the central government. Rather than provinces generating wealth and contributing to the federal government, what we had was they go to the federal government to collect money to pay their civil servants. And so that was a fundamental error. And since we started practicing that absurdity as far back as 1970, that we commenced that absurdity, Nigeria has never been the same. Now you have to understand where we are coming from. Nigeria wasn't the only country colonized by Britain, and wasn't the only country that Britain bequeathed this process to. Frankly, United States was. And they retained what it was they got from the British people, and you can see made them great within a space of 241 years. Now, we also know that Canada was bequeathed the same thing, because Canada as well was colonized by the British. And of course, if you go to Canada, it's almost 10 million square kilometer in landmass. That's almost 10 times plus the size of Nigeria in terms of land mass. And yet it only has 7 provinces and 3 territories, right? Here, instead of having the 3 that we had, we broke them down to 36. And that created a lot of division, a lot of dissatisfaction, and created states that were not self-sustaining, that would only go to the federal government to collect money. So that was the fundamental error that we made. Australia also, another example, colonized by the British. Australia itself is almost 8 times as large as Nigeria, right? But it only has 6 states and 2 territories, and it's 8 times as large as Nigeria. You go to India, it's the same stuff. India was colonized by UK, and UK bequeathed the same thing they bequeathed to Nigeria. And if you go to India today, population of almost 1.something billion people, you have a state like Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is the size of the entire southern Nigeria put together, right? And yet the same Uttar Pradesh of about 230 kilometers square, the same size as the entire southern Nigeria, population is 204 million people, much bigger than the Nigerian population, and they fit in that space. Right? And they manage themselves. And then you move from there to the state of Gao, that is just about 3,000 and something square kilometers with only 1.8 million people. Now, these are different states. One state has 204 million, another state has 1.8 million people, and they are constitutionally equal under the system that British bequeathed to India, which India itself kept. Now, you can notice all these countries I'm naming were colonized by the British, and they were bequeathed the same thing the British bequeathed us. They kept their own, and they are making progress. All of them. We decided to tear our own apart, and then we have sunk. And the reason we tore our own apart is because of selfishness. The elites in Nigeria, instead of working for the upliftment of the country, decided to tear this one apart so that they can each have portions of what they call the national cake, so they can share it among themselves. When we had 3 regions, you couldn't have a lot of elites sharing the money, because the 3 regions were controlled essentially by 3 governors. Now you have 36, and you have 36 people, plus all the other people that work with them. So the entire issue here was corruption. How do we spread out the sharing of Nigerian resources? How do we spread the thieving and stealing of these resources among all ourselves without having to fight ourselves? Now let us divide the country into 36. We have done that, and Nigeria has remained a problem ever since. So to that extent, discussing restructuring is good. but that has to be put in perspective. We have to go back to what we inherited, because as I've named these countries, these are examples. As I've named all of them, they are all doing well, and they are all using the same system that was bequeathed by them. By the way, UK uses the same system, because United Kingdom is made up of 3 provinces, and this is a country that's much bigger than Nigeria. It's made up of England, it's made up of Scotland, it's made up of Wales. These are the only 3 provinces in the United Kingdom, and the country is bigger than Nigeria in every measure, yet they have only 3 states per se, right? So these are the things I'm talking about. Whenever you take a nation and you reduce them into smaller sizes, you create inherent divisions. Let me give you an example. If you take a group like Yoruba and you split them into 8 different states, 6, of course, we know it's in the southwest, then we have Yorubas in Kogi, we have Yorubas in Kwara. You plant divisiveness within the Yoruba nation. And when that big block of nation is divided, Nigeria is divided. The same thing is done to the Igbos. They took a group of the Igbos and they split them up into 7 states, creating inherent division within a block of Nigerians, and so that inherent division is translated to the federal level. They go to the north, they do the same. So we have to pull back and ask ourselves, how does a country that has essentially diversity, how do they tap into the strength of diversity? You tap into the strength of diversity when you utilize that diversity as engine blocks for growing your country. But when you go to that diversity and you begin to tinker with them and begin to divide them along lines that are not rooted in the will of the people, you sow division in that diversity, and then that is the time when diversity becomes a weakness, when diversity becomes something that creates chaos in a polity. And that is what we have done. So talking about restructuring is good, but we have to understand, what was it we did that created the bad situation? Now, when you understand what we did that created the bad situation, then you can make sure that when you're doing the new thing, you do it right. Because I hear people say, well, if we're going to restructure, probably we do it based on geopolitical zones. And I ask the question, who created the geopolitical zones? Is it the people that created it, or is it the elites again? Anything the elites do to tinker with the boundaries of Nigeria will be done in such a way that they will divide the spoils among themselves. They will also divide the indigenous populations. When you divide the indigenous populations, you sow inherent conflict. If you go within those indigenous populations, you sow conflict or boundary divide, you sow all kinds of conflict, and then you create a problem. Now, if they're going to do that, they will also create problems down the road. It doesn't solve Nigeria's problem. Now, what solves Nigeria's problem in terms of restructuring is to base this restructuring we're talking about on the people. Anything that is not rooted in the people is a calamity. We have constitutions that the people never sanctioned, and that has become a calamity to us. We had the division of states that the people never sanctioned. That also is a calamity to us. Now, if we allow the people to sanction what region they want to belong to, that is when we get it right. Which means that among the people of Nigeria, there have to be a plebiscite as to which region they want to belong to. Groups have to arise that campaign for various regions. There should be groups campaigning for Duduwa, there should be groups campaigning for Biafra, there should be groups campaigning for Arewa, there should be groups campaigning for the Middle Belt, there should be groups campaigning for the South, and so on and so forth. And then the populations in those areas should be given an opportunity to cast their votes as to which groups they want to belong to. When you do it that way, then we can create political boundaries based on the self-determination of the indigenous groups in Nigeria. That will work.
Say one thing. The last guest I had said IBB was selfish. He's calling for restructuring now, but when he was there, he was part of the reason why we are in this mess. What is your take to that?
No, but that is looking backwards. That is looking backwards. I've just enumerated the many reasons why they did what they did. It was selfishness. So if you said IBB is selfish, probably repeating the same thing I've said. Although I don't I didn't name names, but what I did say was that the elites that did what they did previously did it on selfish basis so they can steal Nigeria's resources. I made that clear, and that doesn't exempt anybody that was part of that process. IBB certainly was a leader in that process and therefore gets captioned in the broadside that I've laid out. But the issue is you cannot dwell on it. It is good that he has moved forward. We want Nigerians to move forward. Now, when you make a mistake in the past and you recognize a mistake, you should be applauded. You should not be demonized because you've recognized a mistake. That's silly. Because if you are demonized, it makes other people that have made mistakes to stay dug in. And when people stay dug in their mistakes, then we don't move forward.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Damian Ogbonna, it was a nice time having you around. I want to have another section with you. I'm asking now presence of viewers because they are beginning to call in. It's going to have a time with you where you will take calls, hopefully next week or next week. It's very busy. Getting to track him is very difficult, but by the grace of God, we'll track him down and you'll get to talk to him. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And thank you all my viewers for viewing this program. I appreciate it. Till I come your way next week, I remain your host, Frida Okira. Thanks.
Certainly the best.